To get back on track, and tonight he faces a very tenacious Knox Brown.
Well, once a champion, Al, always a champion. But right now, this champion does not have a title. Matthew Hilton is a good fighter. At 21, he won the world championship and started to party. He started believing he was the best in the world. He started living the good life. Well, at 24, many wonder if he can recapture that middleweight championship and put his name up there again with the best in the world in that division. Well, he comes from a fighting family, and he needs to answer this question to himself. Does he still want to fight?
30 wins, 2 defeats, and 1 draw with 24 knockouts, still at the tender age of 24. And trying to put it together as he ups himself now to the middleweight division. And tonight we'll stare across at Knox Brown out of Memphis, Tennessee. Had no amateur fights, turned pro at the age of 24, and he has seen it all. This is already his 62nd professional fight. He will stay in your face. He'll take a lot of punishment, and he sizes up his opponent, Matthew Hilton, tonight.
Timing is so important in boxing. Hilton hasn't won a fight in his last 2 outings. Brown could be catching him at the right time.
And we'll take a look at the rules as sanctioned by the Edmonton Boxing Commission. 3 knockdown rule is in effect. There is no standing 8 count. You cannot be saved by the bell in any round. And it is a 10-point must scoring system. And we are ready now for the introductions of the fighters. And let's go to our ring announcer, James Monsees.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. This bout is scheduled for 10 rounds in the middleweight division. Your referee from Edmonton is David Ward. Introducing the combatants. First of all, in the red corner, wearing blue trunks with silver trim, he weighed in at 162 1/2 pounds, fights out of Memphis, Tennessee, with a professional record of 38 wins, 21 defeats with 2 draws and 20 knockouts. Would you please welcome Knox Brown? His opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the plaid trunks, he weighed in at 161 pounds, hails from Région, Quebec, with a professional record of 30 wins, 2 defeats, 1 draw, and 24 knockouts. He is the former IBF Junior Middleweight Champion of the world. Would you please welcome Matthew This bout is scheduled for 10 rounds in the middleweight division.
We were both told all the rules this morning. I expect a good, clean fight. The thing to remember, if anybody's knocked down, the standing fighter goes to a neutral corner. Please do not either of your own. 3 knockdowns in every round will constitute a knockout, and the bell cannot save you in any round, including the last round. I want a clean fight. When I say break, I don't have to wrestle with you. Break. Shake hands down and come out fighting.
Matthew Hilton, his last fight was in January for the WBO title, and he was stopped in 11 by Doug DeWitt. Says he has a whole different approach, a new look to his boxing career now at the tender age of 24. And Sean O'Grady, like Matthew Hilton, you were a champion at 21, and your career ended at the age of 24. How might Matthew Hilton be different from Sean O'Grady?
Well, we're going to find out here tonight. If he looks impressive against Brown, which he wants to do and he needs to do, he could get his career back on track again. Hilton has not won a fight since 1989, that October of last year.
Hilton beat Buster Drayton in 1987 for the IBF Junior Middleweight Championship, the first Canadian champion in over 40 years. Jackie Kalura was the last world champion out of Canada, so he is a national hero, as you could hear from the crowd here in Edmonton. He had one successful defense, and then he lost the title to Bam Bam Hines. And for Hilton, he has lost 3 of his last 4 fights. Or check that, he has won only 1 of the last 4. He has 2 defeats and a draw at the hands of Fermin Chirino. But he's trying to turn it around. He says tonight is the beginning of everything. That he just rose too quickly. Did not cherish the championship. Reputation of being quite a partier. Spent the money. And as he said, became lazy and fat. And it showed in the ring. And tonight he goes up against a warhorse in Knox Brown. Brown in his 61 fights has been down in just 1 of them. That against John the Beast Mugabe.
And he said Mugabe is the hardest puncher he's ever been in the ring with.
Thank you.
Said Mugabe can hit like a mule. John the Beast. Oh, and look, this first round, so important. Matthew Hilton is cleaning up. He's setting the pace of this fight. Now, something that he does not want to do, he's trying to get out of the mode, the negativity of him starting too quickly and fading toward the end. But gosh, when you hurt a guy like he's hurting Knox Brown right now, you got to try to take him out.
Hilton has always been a very fast starter, but has tended to run out of gas. But as he points out, his last 4 fights have all gone 10 rounds or more. A couple of 10-rounders, an 11-round fight, the one at DeWitt, and the 12-round loss at the hands of Bam Bam Hines. He says tonight, really not looking for the knockout. Actually, he's looking to get in some work. But as it stands right now, it is one-sided. It is all Matthew Hilton. And for our local cable systems, we'll pause for these messages. Round number 1 of a scheduled 10-rounder in our first fight up on tonight's Tuesday Night Fights. Yes, sir. Yeah, I better.
The first round was all Matthew Hilton, showing why the former champ is branded with that starting quickly, which he does in every one of his fights. Now, what many people want to know, me included, can he keep this up through 10 rounds? And can Knox Brown last through 10 rounds?
Well, a pep talk in the corner of Knox Brown from trainer Jerome Pete, telling Knox you took his best shot and you're still standing. Knox Brown, very interesting story out of Memphis, Tennessee, where he is a bartender. No amateur fights, just loved the fight game. He started in his backyard with some friends, loved the sport, loved to spar, and he figures, well, he might as well get paid. He turned pro at the age of 24 and has really made up for lost time. He has had 61 fights already, 408 rounds. He has gone the 10-round distance 22 times. His last fight did not go the distance. He was taken out in 3 by Olympian Roy Jones. That was 4 months ago, and a 4-month layoff for Knox Brown is an eternity.
Break, gentlemen. Break clean. Let him go.
And he says, hey, I don't want to be a world champion. I just love to fight. I wonder if he's loving it right now because Hilton is clocking him.
Knox Brown known to take incredible amount of punishment, and he has lived up to the reputation so far here in the first 2 rounds. Matthew Hilton is banging away at Knox Brown.
Clean, step back.
Brown, who has won 38, he has lost 21, 2 draws, 20 knockouts. And he has a career that's been filled with wins against local fighters.
One more time and I'm taking off a point. Referee right on top of it. Little low on the punches from Hilton.
Yeah, and the crowd doesn't like it. Knox Brown doesn't seem to care. He'll take his punches anywhere, but he's won a lot of those local fights in Memphis. They fight there basically once a month. His losses, though, and he steps up in class, and especially when he goes on the road. For instance, in fights in Tennessee, Brown is 28-7-2, but on the road he is under the 500 mark at 10-14.
Let him go.
And he is a road warrior. This is the way he's learned how to fight, though. He's one of these fighters, Al, we've talked so much about those circuit fighters who enjoy getting hit. They get high off the punches. Here's one of them right now. His best defense is letting his opponent punch himself out, and then he comes back with combinations of his own.
Well,
but this has happened so many times. This is why he's been stopped in the fights. That's what happened with Roy Jones, he says.
Well, if Brown gets high on being hit, he should be floating over Edmonton tonight.
Step back.
Final seconds of the second round.
That's it.
Matthew Hilton acknowledges the roar of the crowd. He says this time he has to watch himself in and out of the ring, that it's going to be right this time.
He gets all the weight of his legs and his rear, his shoulders into every punch that he throws. And believe me, it takes a much more out of you to throw those hard punches than the easy punches, than just the combinations. But occasionally, and so many times, right now, Knox Brown is looking for those hard punches. Occasionally, you cannot catch your opponent when you know, and he knows what you're going to do to him. You got to surprise him.
Hilton, a glorified amateur champion in Canada, won 11 Golden Gloves championships in this country, undefeated in 106 amateur fights, and 72 of them by knockout. And he said when he entered the pro ranks, he found out it wasn't like the amateurs, that you can't knock out everyone. And now that he's picking up that experience, and he feels he's learning more. The first time he figured he'd go in, he was zoomed to the top, 26 straight wins before beating Buster Drayton. And now he says he's learning more. Before he was taught and told, but he never listened. Now he's listening.
Well, that's kind of where he had a problem early in his career. That's where he got the stigma of a fast starter and a fader as the fight goes on. All those amateur fights, you know, are scheduled for 3 rounds. Here he is, pummeling. Now, this round, he's going to the body more. Those body shots will add up in the later rounds of this fight, provided we see those later rounds. And Knox Brown has to get busy. The reason is because the referee could stop this fight at any minute now. All these punches that Knox Brown has taken, I know he's trying to wear down Hilton and get him to the later rounds, which is his fight plan, but the referee can step in and say that's all.
That's what you would call masochistic strategy. The way to beat your opponent, let him punch you to a pulp in the early rounds so he has nothing left later.
Well, he's trying to break Hilton's hands on his face.
And his body. Good straight right by Hilton, and there is Knox Brown still standing in front.
And you look at Knox Brown, he's rolling with a lot of punches. I know he's getting hit with those, but he's got his gloves up around his face. He's moving backwards with the punches. He's taking a lot of steam out of him. He didn't take much steam out of that one.
And I think Knox Brown, according to your definition, Sean, is getting higher and higher, and he has to, under the intense punishment, go down.
And that was a punch to the liver, a body blow that knocked Brown to the canvas, and Brown's not going to get up.
He tries to. Referee Dave Ward lets it go on, but Knox Brown has very little left. Tremendous courage just to get up. His instincts was not to be counted out, but this one may not go too long. Although it is the closing seconds of the third, Brown could get to the corner. In what respect?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, if it ends here in the fourth, what's the strategy after this fight?
I'm giving you the Miller, okay? He's wearing out.
All right, so we're not doing George.
All right? You can do it, baby. You can do it. You can do it. All right? You can do it, man.
All right, see what you do. He says the only time he's down was against
to make all this money at age 43.
Knox, that this was the only second.
Come up the middle with your left. It's wide open, Knox. Inside. He's slapping. Wham, wham. Come up the middle. Wow. Your middle shot is wide open, Knox. Do it. Middle shot.
There.
Miraculously, Knox Brown comes out for the fourth round. This is 62nd pro fight, and for only the second time in a fight, or second fight, he has been down on the canvas, and all the wind was taken out by that shot from Matthew Hilton. And Hilton going for that spot again.
Right, let's see what Hilton does now. He can play around as much as he wants to the head, but when he wants to put Knox Brown back down to the canvas, go down to that liver shot. That's on the right side of your body, and I've been hit there, and I'll tell you, it is a killer shot.
Is 1 minute between rounds enough for Knox Brown or any fighter to recover from that kind of a shot?
You know what? That shot lasts only about 12 seconds till you feel the pain from it. Right now, he's feeling pain from the other punches.
And the referee better step in pretty soon. He's taking a long look. Dave Ward, how much more punishment can Knox Brown take?
And he holds on wisely.
Break clean, gentlemen. Break. Break.
First fight back for Hilton since his defeat at the hands of Doug DeWitt.
Break, gentlemen.
The WBO title back in January. That was on the Foreman Cooney undercard. And he is putting on a punching show for his fans here in Edmonton. Knox Brown, a glorified heavy bag here in this fight.
Well, he has taken a lot of shots. In boxing, a fighter who goes down easy, they call him a fighter with round heels. He falls over backwards easy. Knox Brown has got square heels. Hanging in there tough, but just getting blocked. Now, they've told him between rounds, every time they've told him, throw on the inside. Use your uppercuts. He's waiting for it. He's looking for him. He hasn't done it.
Made-to-order opponent for Matthew Hilton.
A lot of heavy bag work from Hilton. Good opponent. He's not in any danger in this fight. This is more like a baseball game. Hilton pitching, Knox Brown catching.
Batting practice for Matthew Hilton, who says, by the way, he's right outside of the Montreal area. Big hockey fan, NHL fan. His favorite team, is it Montreal or Quebec? No, the Philadelphia Flyers. He loved the days of the Broad Street Bullies, and he is looking like a Broad Street bully here tonight.
And the face of Knox Brown is showing it. Blood on the nose, on the bridge of the nose, he has a cut.
But Knox Brown, who got that tough shot to the body to end the third round and had to go down, just beating the count, and he has come back to survive the fourth.
And you know what? Now Matthew Hilton has slowed down. He took a well-needed break in that fourth round. And Knox Brown is getting a tongue lashing in his corner. Let's listen.
Well, we're in the corner now of Knox Brown, who may feel he has Hilton right where he wants him. Let's listen in.
You got to turn the middle shots and leave with your right. It's wide open, baby. Okay?
Well, if Nolan Ryan is as effective as Matthew Hilton tonight, he will get his 300th, because Matthew Hilton is pitching the shutout going into this fifth round.
But that last round was an important round for Brown. In that last round, Hilton took a break. Now let's see if Brown can start getting busy. Said he wanted to take Hilton to the later rounds of this fight.
Knox Brown is boxing's wind-up doll. You wind him up, and he fights. You wind him up, he takes punches.
Well, he said his fight plan for tonight was defense early, try to get in the fight after 6. So we still got one more round for the 6th round.
Defense early?
I tell you, he's just getting clocked.
Was that defense?
Well, you know what? A lot of those, a lot of the punches are hitting the arms or the gloves of Brown. Some of them are getting in them.
Yeah, now a little aggressiveness. First time of the night. Knox Brown on the offensive. And he even gets a little bit of a hand from this crowd.
Break clean, gentlemen. Break.
Who'll have to at least acknowledge the incredible punishment that he's been withstanding. And there he is, still standing. He said when he came out against Hilton that he would have to move a little more to stay away from the left hook. He has not done a very good job at that. Incredible to see Brown, after all the punishment he's taken, going on the offense. Still having something left.
Well, he sees that Hilton is taking a break. And maybe he changed his strategy a little bit, not to start in the 6th, but in the 5th. There's so much you can see from in there. So much you know about your opponent, even though you're fighting him, even though you never say a word, you don't speak anything. Right now, Hilton is doing the talking with his hands, though.
Hilton's only defeat at the hands of Bam Bam Hines to lose his junior middleweight title. And his last fight against Doug DeWitt. Hilton burst on the scene. He had beaten Vito Antuofermo at the end of Antuofermo's career, took him out in 5, and then Wilfred Benitez stopped that one in 9. Won his first 26 fights, vaulting him into the championship fight with Buster Drayton, and then won that one. But right now, Knox Brown surviving and will go into the 6th round. Unbelievable.
He's one of those fighters that talked about.
You said Knox Brown loves to get hit. That is the case. This is Valentine's Day for Knox Brown. Coming back a little bit in the 4th and 5th rounds after he was down late in the 3rd. Only the 2nd fight he's ever hit the canvas. Knox Brown, and this is 62nd fight. We're in the 6th round, and this is on the average where Hilton stops his fights. He has 24 knockouts in his 30 wins.
And he is the one boxing here in this round, even though you say that, Al. He's the one stepping back. And he's loosening up, too, and perhaps feeling the effects of throwing those hard punches. When you throw that many punches that hard, it wears your arms down. See him trying to shake them out?
Good fight for Hilton. Most other fighters he would have put out early. He's up against a Mack truck in Knox Brown, and he is getting the workout he's been looking for. Well, certainly not in danger.
Knox certainly lives up to the name. He takes his knocks.
But refusing to be knocked out.
Right. Knocks Brown out. A lot of encouragement over in his corner. They're telling him still, get on the inside. Throw your punches from the inside. Use the uppercuts. He's asking for it. Jerome Pete talking to Knox Brown.
Hilton slowing down the pace here in the 6th, and then moving in for his shots. And he still has something left.
Step back, gentlemen. Break clean.
Now something that may come a factor while this fight goes longer. You know, Knox Brown wanted to get into the later rounds of this fight, but he spent last night and today in the sauna trying to make the weight limit. Oh.
Combinations. Would you say that Hilton has outpunched Brown by about 10-1 in this fight?
Sure.
Would that be fair?
You mean, are you talking about just the first round or the rest of the fight? Yes, absolutely. Every round. Boy.
On a ratio of 10-1. Let me clarify that.
Yes, absolutely.
Break, gentlemen. Break.
With each hand.
That's right.
Boy, a lot of punches. Matthew Hilton is one busy fighter. And he's sustaining a pace, although the punches don't have the effect that they had in the first 3 rounds.
Really? I won't.
We know Brown was down in the 3rd round, as you mentioned, from a left. Whoa, and a big right hand from Brown.
Knox Brown sneaks one in here in the 7th.
Break clean.
And that stung Hilton. Good right hand, and it wakes Knox Brown up. But I was talking about Brown going down in the 3rd from a left uppercut to the body. Although Hilton has tried that, he hasn't been able to land with it. Now Brown is scoring. Hilton is getting clubbed. And this could be the moment that Knox Brown has been waiting for. He can't allow for this minute to slip
clean.
aside. Now he's taking a breath. He's the one holding on.
Thank you.
Right now, Hilton is hurt.
Pace slowing considerably for Matthew Hilton in the 7th.
And this is why he has gotten a bad heat, because he slowed down after 3. But
he is planting, and Brown taking it all.
Between rounds, his father telling him, Matthew, go out there and throw some good combinations to get this guy out of there. He's ready to go.
Now, are you more amazed at the shots that Hilton has been throwing throughout, or Knox Brown still standing after taking all of it?
I'm more amazed at Knox Brown for standing in there. He has gotten hit solid.
Thank you.
His neck has swung around a couple of times. He's been down, and he's still hanging in there. I always had a lot of respect for these kind of fighters. They're circuit fighters. They take fights on short notice. They come in a different crowd. The crowd hates them, and they don't care about that. All they care about is getting there, fighting, putting up a good fight, and then on to the next town, picking up their paycheck. Can't forget that. I think that's the most important thing for them.
Well, Brown has picked up a lot of paychecks. They may not be big ones.
Hilton is trying to find that mark on that right side of the body.
Chasing Brown into the corner in the closing seconds of round number 7. And for our local cable systems, we will pause for these messages. You're watching USA's Tuesday Night Fights from Edmonton.
Break. That's it. Get him to watch that right hook to the hip. Get out of here. Thank you.
Even though he was hurt in that 7th round in the early part, he came back with some good, effective, strong body punches. Hilton is reserving his energy. He takes some deep breaths. He hangs on. He holds. He allows for his opponent to score. Then he saves up, and he just barrels into his opponent.
And now Hilton getting a little bit annoyed that Knox Brown is still there. And here is Brown opening it up and getting in on Hilton. 8th round action. We have had some magnificent upsets on USA. Once again, we remind you of our fight phone number. If Foreman faced Tyson, who do you think would win? There's the number if you say Foreman, and the number if you say Tyson. But we have had some incredible upsets. This would rank right up there. Matthew Hilton shutting out Knox Brown coming into the 8th. Still a little far-fetched to think of Brown pulling this one out, but he has had some surprising offensive flurries. Surprising in the fact that he is still there fighting.
And holding on.
Turn him loose.
Taking a break. He doesn't. This is the way you control somebody with a right hand. One of Knox Brown's weapons is, of course, his right hand, but you go to the body so much on that right side of the body of your opponent that he quits throwing the right hand. Right here, Knox Brown is afraid to throw that right hand because he's fearful to get hit with that body punch again. The one that put him down in the 3rd round. And you can see him holding that elbow in on that over that liver, over that rib.
This is the 416th round that Knox Brown has fought in as a pro. And when you consider he never had a fight until he was 24 years old. No amateur career, turned pro at the age of 24, and now at the age of 31, looking to make it the distance against Matthew Hilton.
Wow, Matthew Hilton has just got so much power. All hooked, but he nonetheless
turn him loose.
Really swings it. Really throws it. He rotates his shoulders, puts all of the weight of his backside into it.
Hilton said his biggest problem, always wanted to become a world champ, but when he won the championship against Buster Drayton 3 years ago, that wasn't the beginning for him, but the end. And he has taken time now to get his desire back, but he says it is there. And now he's on the road in the middleweight division.
Knox Brown is earning his money tonight.
I wonder what, where is Brad? I want to see what he makes for this fight.
We're taking his best shots now. All right? Taking his best shot.
Yeah, that's right. He'd fight anybody. He'll fight George tonight.
Is Brad back there?
First pin your left hook.
Okay.
You get your right set up for your left hook, okay?
Yeah.
That's right.
If you see Brad, I'm just trying. Oh, here he is.
It's your show now. He you taking his best shot?
Seconds out. Now.
Round 9.
Late in the third round, it appeared as if Knox Brown would not be able to stand up again, let alone continue to fight. And here he is now, heading into the 9th round.
Well, he had every opportunity in that third round to say, that's all, I quit. I just pick up my paycheck and get out of here. But he is earning his money tonight. It wouldn't surprise me if after this fight he would want to come back and fight Foreman in our main event.
Well, the last time Foreman was in Canada to fight was that fateful night in Toronto back in 1975 when he fought 5 opponents in an exhibition. Tonight he's here only to fight one, Ken Lacusta. But if Lacusta turns out to be nothing more than a early George Foreman type opponent, perhaps Knox could step in afterwards.
And, you know, here is a perfect opportunity for Matthew to come on. If he could, now he's got Knox Brown lulled into a sleep, lulled into this false sense of security. If he can just mill along for a little bit and then reach down with that same body punch, the one that knocked Brown down in the third, and bring it from off his left rib, land it, Knox Brown will visit the canvas again. The Kansas?
Well, at this point, he may not know where he is.
He knows he's not in Kansas anymore.
Break. Turn loose.
Well, you said he feels that when he gets hit, he gets high. He may be flying over Kansas right now. You talk about him earning his payday. You look at the punishment that Knox Brown is taking here. He is not making more than $5,000 for this fight. And then you consider George Foreman, and if it's another George Foreman type glorious sparring session of a couple of rounds, and he's going to walk away with around $250,000 for tonight's appearance.
Knox Brown is actually getting about a dime a punch.
That's right.
1 point. 1 point.
And now the point is taken away. Warnings given earlier.
And you know, he visited the corner between rounds, the referee did, over to Hilton's corner and told Davey, his dad, to tell Matthew to keep the punches up.
Break clean, gentlemen.
And Knox coming on after that point taken away from Hilton. Knox trying to seize the opportunity, feels this may be a chance to maybe win a round.
Well, Dave Wood right on top of the action. Referee doing a good job. But I tell you, he could have stopped this fight at any point. You know, this may be why Knox Brown has got all the losses on the road. Oh, he is getting clean. Knox Brown shaking his head, trying to shake off those punches.
Back up.
And incredibly, Knox Brown will head into the 10th and final round.
Get that nose, man. Get that nose.
A body puncher like Hilton will occasionally let his punches drift, not purposely, but when his arms get tired like they are from throwing so many punches, they go low.
And the crowd getting behind Hilton, looking for him to end this fight. Well, Matthew came in, said he's not looking for the knockout tonight, and if it goes 10 rounds, it's fine with him. He needs the work. And it's exactly what is happening.
Break clean. Step back, gentlemen.
And he has to be wondering what is holding Knox Brown up. The veteran Knox Brown. Now this is great for Brown because as a circuit fighter, a lot of other middleweights will want to fight him to see if they can get Knox Brown out of there and then try to draw some kind of correlation with Matthew Hilton. So for him, it's not only a payday tonight, it's a payday for the next 2 months. Or I should say the next 6 months, because he'll be on that circuit.
And also,
in the next 6 months, he'll probably have another 40 fights.
Thank you.
well, he's upset. He says they used to have monthly fights in Memphis, but they have not been on a monthly basis of late, and he's missing out on a lot of fights.
Thank you.
I know his record should be well over 100 by now, but kept having the fights in Memphis.
He turned pro in 1983, just a couple of fights. That's because he turned pro in November of the year. Then he had 7 fights in 84, 10 fights in 85, 11 fights in 86, 12 in 87, really getting wound up. Dipped down to 8 fights in 88, and 9 fights in 89. And this is his 3rd fight in 1990. Knox Brown, I think, along with George Foreman, say the 2 busiest fighters in the world.
Well, you got to label Knox Brown Mr. Defensive. Very rarely have we seen many punches from him. And, you know, we've talked so much about Brown, but you got to give Hilton credit. Hilton has been busy throughout this fight. He put aside a lot of the criticism that he's got about the early start and the late slow finish. He's finishing here pretty good. This is 10th round. He has thrown a lot of punches, been real busy.
And if he wants to get into the middleweight championship picture, he has to also convince himself that he could go 10 rounds and be fairly fresh towards the end. He is now ranked number 5 by the IBF in the middleweight division. And at least did accomplish one thing. He had Knox Brown on the canvas, and only John Mugabe, the Beast, only other fighter in Brown's 62 fights to put him down.
Now those punches are all hitting on the arm of Knox Brown. A lot of shots from Hilton, they're real hard, but all of them on the arms and on the shoulders. There have been some fighters, I think Rocky Marciano was known for hitting his opponents on the shoulders, breaking all the blood vessels. He hit them so hard. Graziano.
And a partial standing ovation for this one. It goes 10 rounds. Miraculously, Knox Brown stands for 10 after taking a beating from Matthew Hilton. We'll be back for the decision and visit with George Foreman in his dressing room next.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a unanimous decision. Judge Ken Newman scores the bout a 99-89. Judge Ken Rudd scores the bout a 99-89. And Judge Jack Berry scores the bout a 99-91. The winner by unanimous decision of Matthew Hilton.
Matthew Hilton goes to 31-2-1, is not able to chalk up another knockout, which stands at 24. But as far as the judges are concerned, 2 essentially, and a pitch a shutout. There's a hand now for Knox Brown, who won many fans here in Canada. This means Knox may be coming back, may have found a new home to fight, going 10 rounds, taking a beating. 2 of the judges essentially a shutout. The 1 round to Knox was the low blows, the point taken away to Hilton. And one of the judges had a couple of draws in rounds in there. So Knox Brown at least puts on the resume, going the distance with former junior middleweight champion Matthew Hilton. And Hilton now trying to get his career back on track as a middleweight.
Big George Foreman.